I feel the spirit moving in me. I feel the spirit moving in me.
Well, seems like a lot of my talks begin at Whole Foods. And this is supposed to be me and somebody else. I couldn't get something that was representative, other than maybe my younger self, 10 years ago or so. Does my sound okay? Does it sound okay to you? It sounds kind of, all right, good. Boxy, I feel boxy, yes. Well, we're going to get out of the box today. How's that? All right, all ready? Get out of the box. We're going to talk about stories. And so I was at Whole Foods, and I'm in the produce department, and I look across the produce department, and somebody's going like this, right? Hey, 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 hey. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure if I know the person, right? Hi, And then the person comes over me, and he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Good." I'm still trying to think of who is this person, right? And he's like, "Oh, it's so great to see you," and yak this and yak that, and then he says, "Wow, you really look different." And just like that, those 4 little words, now outwardly, I smiled, and said, yeah, thanks. It's still me. But inwardly, I'm like, oh boy, my brain went for a wild ride. In the span of about 3 seconds, my mind dramatically interpreted, "You look different," as, oh no, I must be older, right? Maybe I have gray hair. Maybe I look tired. Do I look bad? Am I aging in dog years? Is it that obvious? By the time I get to the checkout, and I just wasn't buying organic kale. I was lugging a huge bag of self-doubt and worry. Right? My inner storyteller spun a tale of aging, decline, and not good enough, right? Off of one offhand comment. Or was it the story I told about the comment? Right? You probably know the answer. It wasn't the event itself, right? It was my interpretation of the event. I took a neutral comment, maybe even a positive one, and turned it into a full-blown drama, right? In my head. Anybody ever experienced that? Right? I essentially took the philosophy that the Buddha talked about getting shot by the first arrow, right? That's the comment. And then stuck myself with another arrow of trying to put a negative spin on what I heard. Ay. What happened, right? What happens when we get a text from somebody, or we send a text to somebody and they don't respond, right? If you send one to me, it may be a while before you get one back. I'm just saying. But, or if we get that, we're walking down the street and somebody looks at you a certain way or raises an eyebrow, and we go, oh my God, they're thinking terrible things about me. Is my zipper down? It has been up here before, but I think it's okay right now. I had somebody come up to me and whisper, "Reverend Blaine, your zipper's down." And it's like, ooh. But I'm not going to check. I'm pretty sure we're in good shape this morning. Our brains are good at making up stories, right? Our brains hallucinate, right? Our brains sitting in here trying to interpret all that's going on, and sometimes it doesn't see it correctly, and it makes up stories. Our brains hallucinate. Isn't that great? So the title of this talk is It's Not the Event, It's the Story. It's not the event that causes our stress. It's the story that we make up about the stress. There's a great Stoic teacher whose name is Epictetus, and he said, people are not disturbed by things, but the way they view them. The way they view them. Wow. In Unity, we say that we assign meaning to the events in our lives, don't we? We like to figure out why this happened, why somebody said something, why they looked at us a certain way, and we can create a whole story about it. So, what I experienced in Whole Foods was my storytelling brain in action. It turns out that we're all natural storytellers, and I just don't mean telling stories to others. We tell stories to ourselves. Now, psychologist Dan McAdams calls this our narrative identity, right? The internalized story that we create about ourselves. It's like we have like an evolving autobiography happening in our minds, and we create this story where we're the main character, and other people show up around us as supporting actors and actresses, and they get to play a part in our drama. And so there's an interesting philosophy, I hope you find it interesting anyway, that McAdams came up with, and he believes that there's many ways, but two of the major ways that we interpret the stories in our life is with redemption sequences, our interpretation, and contamination sequences. Right? In other words, we take the things that happen in our lives one of two ways, right? If it's a redemption sequence, is when we take the hero's journey and something difficult or challenging happens to us, and we interpret it as, wow, this happened, and look at where I came from. Right? I was able to rise above that circumstance, that story, and overcome it and be who you see now. Right? Redemption is about turning hurt into healing or setbacks into growth. That's one way we can interpret the stories that happen to us, right? Anybody relate to any of this? Okay, and then there's the other way. That's not quite as fun, and that's the contamination sequence, right? It's basically the opposite. It's when the story goes from good to bad, right? Something wonderful and hopeful happenings, and then we turn it around in our mind and let it spoil us. We take it on a down note. It's taking what was positive and let it be overtaken by the negative, right? We turn good fortune into tragedy in our narrative. So, for example, a man grows up poor, has a tough childhood. In his story, he says, those hard times taught me resilience and brought my family closer together. So this is a redemptive story. He sees this story in light of the positive outcome that happened. And we might think about, let's go here, Joseph. Remember Joseph in the Bible story? Remember Joseph had the coat of many colors? Remember that story, right? And his father gave that to him, and his brothers were really jealous of him. So what'd they do? Anybody remember? That's right. They sold him into slavery. They buried him in a pit, right? And sold him into slavery. But he came back and he got into royalty and he became a noble person, and he ended up working and handing out food. And later, during a famine, his brothers came to him and said, "Please, can you help us?" Right? And he said to them, he forgave them, and he said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Right? So he was able to turn it around. I love that story. Psychologists say that people who are able to turn the story around and have a redemptive view of what happens to them are happier. They live better. They're more prosperous, right? Than the person who turns things negative. We all know people that are, I'm sure none of you are that way, you know, are follow the contamination sequence, right? Because if you do, what happens? You know, let's don't say it's us. Let's say it's somebody you know, right, who's always looking at a contamination sort of way of looking at their life. How's their life go? In general, they kind of live out that, don't they? They live out that negative spin that they put on their lives, don't they? And it's the same thing when we turn our stories around and have a redemptive idea of the way things happen to us. We tend to be stronger. We tend to be healthier. We tend to be happier. And that's who I want to be. How about you? Right? You know, people who continuously tell contamination stories tend to struggle more. Right? I'm looking for my, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's written, one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is a friend of the soul, and the mind can also be the enemy. Right? So, when we work with our mind and see the events in our lives through a positive lens, we are training our mind to look for the positive. And as a result of looking for the positive, we tend to experience life in that same way. Everything's good, Adam? Yeah. The sound does sound funny to me. Yeah. It sounds like I'm in a box. And I don't like to be boxed in. Oh, we'll just take a break for a moment, everybody. Yeah. Think about.
It was just two right in front of you.
And maybe that's it. Let's give Adam a big hand.
And Bob.
And Bob, thank you. That's all right. You know, Adam is also the president of our board. And, you know, I have to be careful with him because he's got this sense of humor, right? He turns there's the contamination story, there's a redemption story, and then there's the Adam story, right? Because he turns everything into a joke, right? Isn't that better, isn't it? Is that? Just stay up here and hold it for me, Adam.
Yeah, I am so sorry.
That's all right.
That's there.
Okay, is that better? Oh, that does sound better. So the Buddha said, in life, we can always control the first arrow, or we cannot control the first arrow, right? That's something somebody says or a negative circumstance that happens to us. But what we do have control of is the second arrow. And this second arrow is about how we see what has happened. Do we see it as oh no, something horrible has happened to me? Or do we turn it around and say, from this, I'm going to grow and I'm going to be a better person and I'm going to survive this? Yeah. I love what Eric Butterworth says. He said, we may not be able to control what happens out there, but we always have a say in what happens in here. We have a say on how we interpret the situations in our lives. And those of us, as neuroscience is proving, that we build neural pathways. We get to choose how we build the neural pathways in our brains, right? And when we choose to see a redemptive sequence or view on our lives, we're training our brain to look for the positive. And so the more that we do that, we're actually changing the neural pathways in our brain to move towards being open, being willing to see the positive. And I think that's just amazing. In Whole Foods, the guy's comment to me, was neutral. He might have even meant it to be positive, for God's sakes. Can you imagine? Right? But I took it as a bullseye right in my heart. Anybody else ever do that? Right? And so the lesson really today is to be open and understanding that you get to create your story. Right? You get to create your life. And it's not determined by the things that happen out here in the world. I love what, let's see, here, Joe Dispenza. Anybody know who Joe Dispenza is? He's amazing, isn't he? And he's very much into neuroscience and training the brain. And he says, the affirmations we repeat to ourselves on a daily basis are the programs that we live by, right? So the things that we say to ourselves, about ourselves, are again building the neural pathways in our mind that help us to create the world that we live in. It's said that people treat you in the same way you treat yourself, right? Because we know everyone is a mirror of us. And so we might look at our lives and say, okay, what are people mirroring to me, right? Because we all respond to each other in the way that the stimulus or the person responds to us first. You ever notice? So our stories just aren't mental fluff, right? Our stories become embodied in our neurocircuitry and in our physiology, right? So our stories and what we create out of them create who we are, mentally, physically, spiritually. I like the idea, and you've heard it before, change your story, change your life. Right? Change your story, change your life. As his Proverbs 23 says, as someone thinks within himself, so he is. Wow. We have the ability, we have the responsibility to train our minds to experience the fullness of life, to experience the possibilities of life. Or we can say, I'm going to experience the limitations in life. How does that feel, right? We can claim our power as storytellers, and you are a storyteller, right? What you think about yourself, what you say to yourself, you're creating the narrative of your life. You know, redemption stories don't deny the pain, right? This isn't about overlooking the pain. When we're in pain, we want to recognize it, we want to feel it, right? But a redemptive story is transforming the pain. So let's take a moment for reflection. I invite you to close your eyes and take a breath. This will kind of serve as our meditation today. And I invite you to get comfortable and to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and to bring your attention to your breath. To feel yourself right here, right now, in a safe place, surrounded by loving people, people who love you and support you and care about you. And think about something that triggered you recently. Some stress or pain that you felt, maybe something somebody said or even something that you thought. Could be small, maybe an argument with somebody or a disappointment, a personal setback, or even something larger that's on your heart. And just allow the incident to rest upon your heart. And as you look at this event, what is the story you tell yourself about it? What's the narrative? Maybe it sounds like this always happens to me, or I am to blame, or things are never going to get better. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Whatever it is, just notice it. No judgment, no fear, no anxiety, just notice. And maybe the story was kind of a contamination story, where you're considering that a bad outcome did happen or is going to happen. And then I invite you to look with compassion for yourself. Is there another way that you can see this event? If you were writing a new chapter in the autobiography of your life, how would it be different? What possible redemption or learning or growth could come from this? Perhaps if you lost something, the redemption might be, this creates space for something new. Or if someone hurt you, you might say, this is my chance to set clear boundaries and to love myself more. Or if you made a mistake, just to say, wow, I'm human. And now I know better. This will make me stronger and more compassionate. See if you can reframe this story in a way that's lighter, more empowering. A story where you're not defeated by the event, but lifted or transformed by it. And take a breath in, breathing into this new possibility, breathing into this new perspective, breathing in. And imagine that you can release the second arrow. That you can let it go and be in this place of wholeness and healing. Imagine releasing the suffering. Remember what the Buddha said. Pain happens, but suffering is optional. You're not the bad that happened. You are the hero or the heroine who gets to decide what it means. And let's just rest for a moment in this place of healing, in this place of light and awareness. Breathing in. And I invite you to open your eyes when you're ready. And let's affirm this affirmation like we did earlier. Let's say it together. I am the storyteller of my life. I choose to tell a story of growth, healing, and love. No matter what happens, I can choose a redemptive story. It's not the event, it's the story. And I choose a good story now. So sometimes I wonder about the time in the grocery store where the person came up to me that I didn't recognize. I did figure out later who it was. But to think that I can change that story, right? Even after it happened. I can recognize, I can know that what that person saw in me wasn't the lack and limitation that I projected on myself. That it was love. That the person saw me for who I am. Saw Blaine. Remembered Blaine. Right? And remembered that there was something valuable or inspirational about that connection with me. And that's how I choose to change that story. And as a result, I'm empowered by it. Right? I feel the love for myself because what I got into initially with the contamination was to judge myself. Anybody had that little judge inside that can tend to find all of the little bookmarks in our story that we don't like so much about ourselves, that we're afraid of sharing? So I invite you to be aware, to tell a different story, to tell a redemptive story to yourself because you are amazing. Do you know how beautiful you are? Right? Do you know how beautiful you are? How amazing and lovely and smart and powerful, right? Yeah. I know that is the truth for you, right? You are born into this body that you have to be the presence of light and love in the world, right? Do you know that? Because you wouldn't be here if you didn't, right? Because that's the message that we teach, to help us remember the truth and the essence and the love and the light and the power that we have. So go forth. Tell your story in a loving way to yourself. Remember who you are and be the light of the world. Namaste. I'd like to invite Ames and Marianne to come back up and share with us some more music.
There's a beacon of light in my world, and it's sitting right next to me. In the past 6 months, Ames has written 63 songs. And it had been 50 years since the first song he ever wrote. And when Blaine, oh, by the way, we were driving over here and we heard the song Coat of Many Colors by Dolly Parton. And that's exactly what that song is about what you were saying. She was so proud of that coat of many colors that was made of rags, different rags, yeah.
Yeah, her classmates made fun of her for being so poor, and she said that she was the richest girl in the school, you know, because her mom had made this thing out of love for her.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, I was thinking about the current state of the world and politics and our president, and I got to thinking about presidents. And Jefferson was brilliant, you know, spoke 6 languages, but he had his baggage. And, you know, Washington was a great leader and general. But I think Abraham Lincoln has almost become a saintly character in what he overcame. I mean, the death of an 8-year-old son in the White House in 1862, and went on to, you know, bring freedom to a race of people. He just did some amazing things. And anyway, like I said, it's a redemptive story. He's sort of gone above and beyond just being a man to almost saintly character. So, yeah, this song I wrote called Abraham.
Abraham,
a voice from another day.
Abraham,
you were taken away. And Abraham, you lived long enough to say every person has the right, every person should have the way to live and to love and to be free, to work and to play and to be free, to laugh and to cry and to be free, to live a life with respect and dignity.
Abraham,
you seem so far away, but Abraham, then is now today. And Abraham, you gave your life to save. Every person has the right, every person should have the way to live and to love, to be free, to work and to play and to be free, to laugh and cry and to be free, to live a life with respect and dignity. Abraham, 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 Abraham. Thank you.
Ah, thank you. Beautiful music. Great song. Wow. Wow. Are we blessed or what? Huh? I'll have to have a concert. 62 songs there in one service. Ah, how blessed we are. And I just want to thank everyone who comes together to put this all together. Brad, who cleans up outside every day. Marlene, who's always here to do the video. And one of us is always on the soundboard, and the chaplains, and Blaine that gets the slides together. It's a show, and it's a building. And Kay Aloha's back. So wonderful to see her and Bob. And KLO, of course, holds 1,000 things together back in the office for us, the new improved office, thanks to our construction. And all of that does require a little bit of funding, a little bit of those green pieces of paper, the magic coin of the realm that keeps everything going and is the flow. And we all have some of it. It flows through us, and we choose how to give it away and what to empower with it. And of course, you know what I'm leading up to. This is the part of the service where we invite you to share a little of that with Unity of Maui, if you feel so inclined, if we're a blessing in your life, if we had value, we would love to have a little of value that we can continue to keep everything going here. So if you're at home watching this on Facebook, there's links on our website, easy PayPal links. You can mail a check old school to the address on the website. And here in the room, we're going to be passing the basket in just a moment. So we thank you, and we say an affirmation to empower. This is how we write our story on that money we give away. So our story isn't, oh, I gave my last $5 to Unity. Our story... Our story is, wow, I was blessed today, and I got to share some of my blessing, and I'm part of a circle. I'm part of a flow. Or we could say it this way. Through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And hopefully we have a volunteer or good old our Pat and whoever will pass the baskets around. Thank you, Eleanor.
Si tu condamnes, je t'aime des flammes. Je n'y peux rien. So never leave me lonely. Tell me you love me only, and that you always let it be me, now and forever. Let it be me.
It's with humility and joy and gratitude that we receive these funds from you. They go forth to keep Unity of Maui going, and we also tithe on them ourselves. So we give away a percentage of what you've just given us. We give it away to where we get spiritual value that reinforces our church and our faith and our continuing mission. So we're so blessed to be part of this continuing cycle of abundance and to know and to claim that the world is infinite. Food does grow on trees. There is a free lunch. And it's an abundant, blessed planet. And there's plenty for all of us to share. And that's a story that we are writing. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you. All right, it is announcement time. All kinds of groovy things are going on. Patty is off the island, so another week or two, and she was so wonderful to get the hospitality and the food going for us on the back porch, and I see some things landing there already. If anybody would like to step up and be deputy hospitality or assistant for Patty and to also provide some services and take a little leadership role maybe until Patty gets back, please let us know. We would welcome your support, and we're grateful for everyone that brings something and drops it there. And luckily, we all know how to feed ourselves, so that's another part of our abundance that lands out there is the hospitality. Oh, Kayla, oh, that's right. Okay, and Penny and is out there. Prentice, sorry. Okay, and let's see. We got the whale watching tour coming up. That's going to be fun. Our old friends Gary and Owen are visiting from their church community in New Braunfels, Texas, and they've booked some seats on a joyful whale watch that's going to be next Saturday, the 28th. So you can call and get in on that. It's only about $75 with the Kama Aina rate. And so you're invited to join them for that. That's going to be there at 11. It leaves at 11:30 to 1:30. Going to sail out and hopefully get close and see some whales out there on the ocean. And then there's also an option to join us at the Maui Tropical Plantation for lunch afterwards. So next Saturday, I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of stuff. The Pacific Whale Foundation is giving us a special Kama Aina rate when you purchase through them. So just call that number and go ahead. Well, we get I think we have a combination of both a slight Kama Aina discount and an even larger group discount or 15% off that they're giving right now.
The Whale Foundation.
The whale watch was a Kama Aina rate of $72.
Right. Oh no, not the lunch. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm bopping back and forth between the lunch and the whales. Wouldn't want to get those two confused. Yeah, that's too much to eat. Yeah, and it blows your whole wallet. Anyway, so Gary and Owen would love to see as many friends there as possible with the whale watching, and so thanks. And then at 2:00, like I say, lunch, probably without a Kama Aina discount, but with all your Kama Aina friends. So come for the food and the friendship and celebrate, and it'll be a nice get-together with old friends and new friends this coming Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. I already got me and my friends signed up for that. The reconstruction, as you know, happened miraculously fast. who gets construction done in 2 weeks? I mean, that is miraculous, and I'm still amazed and blessed and willing to receive and let that be a story of reconstruction. As a matter of fact, they reconstructed our offices and our floors and our bathrooms, everything good and solid over there. And we are blessed to have so much abundance come in and cover it. We're still a few thousand short. So if you would like to give any special blessing to the fact that the building's here and keeps going, we would gratefully receive that. Also, another thing that blesses us is the flowers. Lindy, did you do this? Oh my God. So she provided us the flowers today. What a blessing. She just dedicated love for all. Anybody else you want to?
Peace and love for all people for this month of February, because it's the month of nonviolence, and the love for all people, and we need more peace all the time. So I want to give it to everybody to enjoy it.
Thank you, Lindy. So true. So blessed. And if you would like to bring flowers, there's a sign-up sheet in the back there. You can pick a Sunday and bring them. And then when it's over, you can take the flowers home with you, because no point in them sitting here all week when they can be home with you. So if you'd like to do that, please, sign-up sheet's right on the back there. If this is your first time visiting us, please sign our guest book so we know who you are and how blessed we are that you came from wherever. And I'm always amazed how many people, even on vacation, come here. It's like, wow, we're a vacation destination too. How nice. All right, now I'm going to turn it back over to my man Blaine here, who will tell us about what he's going to talk about next week.
All that stuff. Thanks, Adam. Let's give Adam a round of applause. That was a whale of a tale you told us there, Adam. Did he live up to what I said, right? He's a pretty punny guy, I must say.
I was spouting off and I almost
Oh, my goodness. All right, we thank Lindy for the flowers. You can sign up for the flowers. Hey, look at this. Every week I give out a summary of what I talked about, and so it's got a brand new format today. Ooh, yeah, many hours I spent summarizing what I talked about. So if you're interested and you want to remember what I talked about tomorrow, there are copies of this back on the table. Feel free to take one with you. And I must say, this is so much fun, right? This is so great being with all of you and sharing the energy and the love that you bring to Unity on Maui. Thank you. I expected some laughter from you today. Last week, she broke up my talk because you're that close. Well, I'm going to give you something to laugh about next week, because I'm talking about the witness within. That's the part of us that is listening to our lives. And who is that witness, right? What is that witness that's on the inside of us, that's hearing everything we think, all that's going around us in our universe? Who is doing the noticing? So we're going to talk about who that is, what that is next week. So get ready for a deep dive into who you are. And so thank you for joining us right here next week at 10 o'clock. And so I think, let's give it up again for our loving musicians, for Adam, for Bob on sound, Marlene on Facebook, and all of us for being here today. Why don't we stand and take a deep breath, and we're going to say the prayer for protection together. And then we're going to join in a huge circle. This is so great. This is like, I don't know where you all come from. Did a bus show up today? It's like, wow, I'm so excited to see so many people here today. You really warm my heart. Thank you for that. So for ourselves, for this ministry, for all life, let's pray together and affirm the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
Where I live, there are rain.